Yeah, much appreciation, American people. Um, About to go ahead and get started. Normally I do my intros and things of that nature, but I just want to jump straight into the information. You know, um, I don't know if y'all saw this week. So Harvard University has said that they had a role in slavery and what have you, right? So basically, I'm just going to provide that information, summary of all of that, and get to some other information. I'll be sharing links, sources to everything that I'll be showing here on the screen. So yeah, let's go ahead and get it started. Before we begin, though, right? Let me just do the screen big so everything can be clear on the screen. So yeah, some of you may be aware of this. We the People Have Been Poisoned book that was published in February. So this is an active situation for me. It's very time consuming, energy consuming, what have you. But getting it in, moving forward with it, it's progressive. And being diligent to get this information to our American people because this is real serious, active situation. It's available on the stopthegenocide.us website. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Then we're going to jump right into this information dealing with Harvard University and pretty much the lies is being told right now. It's a lot of lies being told. You know what I mean? They're still camouflaging, withholding information from the public pertaining to events that have taken place in North America alone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to put this link in the chat right here also. So this is from Washington Post, titled Harvard Leaders and Staff Enslaved 79 People, University Finds. All right. So that's what that title is. We got another article over here. This is from Indian Country Today. It says Harvard pledges 100 million to research atone for role in slavery. $100 million to research atone for role in slavery, right? Put that link in there as well. Continuing, we have a CNN article. Harvard commits 100 million to redress its complicity with slavery. All right. Yeah, I'm just laying a foundation for this evening's discussion or this presentation I'm going to be sharing, right? So here it is. We have harvardmagazine.com. This is from 2021. It says Peabody Museum discovers possible slave remains in its collections. All right. Now, what's important here for everyone to keep in mind, right, is the Indian slavery that was taking place. Harvard, they are admitting that. Continuing, we have this article here, Harvard Slavery and Judaism. Okay. Reason why this is important, all right, last year in the Hidden Colored series where it was dealing with cults, religious fanatics, and all of that, I explained how, this Hebrew fanaticism began. Okay. And it began with these colonial colleges as well as with the people they were sent over here, the people known as Moranos. This book right here, I'm going to be getting to this briefly. All right. Very good information in this book right here. This is the title of the book. Jews and Muslims in British colonial America, a genealogical history. Okay. This is a free book available on archive.org, 296 pages. Great information. We also have Puritan Great Migration ships. All right. Puritan Great Migration ships. So this right here, this is providing evidence in regards to where the quote unquote slave ships were coming from. Okay. This is additional information about that. And what you'll see on this when we get into it in a moment, you'll see they was all coming from Europe in regards to the East Coast. All right. We're going to see that in a moment. Here's another thing here. Teachingamericanhistory.org, passengers bound for New England. Okay. This pertains to, once again, people being shipped from Europe as slaves and things of this nature. All right. We have this one here, olivetreegenealogy.com, ship's passenger list. This is important for anybody interested in doing genealogy. A lot of great information out there. A lot of information is available. You have a lot of researchers that have been doing genealogy research for years. All right. Continuing. We have this marbleheadmuseum.org. This deals with the ship Desire. Okay, the ship Desire. That's the ship that Harvard University references in this report they released recently. All right. Part of my phone's going off in the background. Let me see what's going on. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of notifications right now. Let me turn this thing down. One moment. How's everybody doing though? Appreciate your presence. All right. Continuing here. So yeah, before we jump right into this Harvard information, right? Let me just lay the preface. Okay, so here it is. This is the Harvard report. 134 pages as referenced in the news articles, right? So that's available for anyone interested in reading that as well. This right here is a document that I showed last year when I did the Hidden Colored series. Harvard and Slavery, Seeking a Forgotten History. Okay. Continuing. This is what I want to present to you first before we get started. Reason being, Harvard is talking about African slaves. They continuously want to make reference to African slaves. This is the propaganda. This is the lies that the foreigners are constantly repeating and regurgitating to confuse and destabilize the mind and spirit and the actions of our American people. All right. So now this is an archaeological, anthropological, ethnographical book right here. Samuel Morton is the author. I don't have the link present right now, but I'm just going to go ahead and read to you what it's saying here. Let me zoom in so we can get it big on the screen. That looks ugly right there. Let me zoom out. All right, that's a little better. So let me just jump right back up here real quick, right? So it says, and this is the name of this book here is Natural History of Man. This is chapter 22, as you see, right? Of the Native Races of America Collective Survey. It says here, the Aboriginal people of America are generally considered as a department of the human family, very distinct from the inhabitants of the old world. That means Euro, Africa, Asia, Persia, all of that. You know, I mean, those are all foreigners. They are not our American people, okay? They're not the Aboriginal peoples of this land here, okay? This is natural history of man we're dealing with right now, okay? Continuing, it says, the insulated situation of the continent and the fact that it was so long unknown. Once again, this continent, this American continent, was so long unknown, and the tribes which it contains so long cut off from intercourse, that means interaction with other nations, are among the circumstances which have contributed to produce this impression. Continuing, the American nations taken in the aggregate are neither among themselves so uniform and unvaried in their physical and moral qualities, nor is the line of distinction between them and the rest of mankind so strongly marked as and so obvious as most persons imagine. Okay, let me just jump straight into it. All right, we're going to jump down here to this last paragraph here. Where are we going to continue from? Okay, I'm just going to start right here. So the era of their existence as a distinct and insulated race must probably be dated as far back as that time which separated into nations the inhabitants of the old world and gave to each branch of the human family its primitive language and individuality. Okay, so we're talking about long time ago before recorded history. Okay, long time ago, and it's blatantly saying here, the era of their existence as a distinct and insulated race. Distinct, we were insulated, we were separated from all other races on this planet, okay? So once again, we're talking about our American people versus the foreign people, the foreign races, if you will. They are mankind, we are natural man, okay? The traits which serve to characterize the Native Americans, okay, and they have native lowercase here because this is a reference to the natural people here, all right? Not native in the legal sense as it applies today with these people running around calling themselves quote unquote Native Americans, capital Native and all of that. Because once again, there was a Native American party, and that was a result of the foreigners invested in the circuses where they were dressing in costumes and creating propaganda, the same way they create movies and TV series, promoting their what's the word for this? Promoting their fraud and identity theft. Bottom line. All right. Let me check the status of the chat, see if anybody's commenting. All right, cool. Yeah, feel free to put your comments in the chat. It's all good. Let's continue. Where we at? We're over here. So the traits which serve to characterize the Native Americans collectively are, as I have said, not so obvious as by some they are supposed to be. Okay, these nations are called quote unquote red men, but there are tribes equally red and perhaps more properly deserving that epithet in Africa and Polynesia. Okay, and the Americans are not all of the hue dominated quote unquote red, that is of a copper color. Some tribes, as we shall see, are as white as many European nations. Okay, others brown or yellow, others are black, or at least they are by travelers described as very much resembling in color the Negroes of Africa. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that right here for now. Once again, the reason why I am presenting this is due to the fact the foreigners have been invested in the reclassification of our American people into Negro, colored, black, mulatto, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are not definitions for the nations and bloodlines in which we carry that are American. You see what I'm saying? They have invested in mixing our people, our American nation's descendants with their foreign people. Our bloodlines have nothing to do with theirs. That's just the bottom line. All right. Let's continue. So I'm going to read you. This is Chief Osceola. Much appreciation to History for sharing this quote. This is from Harper's Weekly, June 12th, 1858. It says, once again, Chief Osceola, am I a Negro, a slave? I am an Indian. The white man shall not make me black. I will make the white man red with blood and then blacken him in the sun and rain, where the wolf shall smell his bones and the vulture live upon his flesh. Okay, so in this picture right here, right? This is an old picture. This is what we have on A4 Truth apparel right now. Chief Osceola, natural brown complexion, okay? He's not a black man, okay? He's saying clearly, Chief Osceola, he was of the Creek, which is a branch of the Choctaw nation and all of that back in the early 1800s, okay? And he's blatantly saying he's not black, all right? He's saying blatantly that the white man shall not make him black, okay? Let's go and continue. Here's an image of the Florida princes. There was two princes that was taken to Europe. I believe it was Germany, if I recall correctly, right? And this is a sculpture that they made of these Florida princes. This sculpture was done in their real likeness, okay? Remember, these are Florida princes. These are Floridian Indians, if you will, all right? Many nations, descendants of the Florida Indian territories still are present, including the Choctaw down there in Florida, all right? So I just want to lay this foundation here, okay? So there is no confusion as we proceed and get into this propaganda and the lies that Harvard University is still regurgitating. You know, they got all these scholars, all these high-paid professors, and they work with so many influential people and things of this nature, yet they're still lying, right? We're going to get into that in a moment. I'm going to save these pictures for last here, okay? Because these pictures, they represent the true slaves, okay? Check the status of the chat. Everything good? All right. So let's go and jump into the first article here. We have Harvard leaders and staff enslaved 79 people. University finds. This article is dated April 26, 2022, right? It's saying Harvard University leaders, faculty, and staff enslaved more than 70 individuals during the 17th and 18th centuries when slavery was legal in Massachusetts. According to a report chronicling the university's deep ties to wealth generated from slave labor in the South and Caribbean and its significant role in the nation's long history of racial discrimination. All right. The Harvard report made public Tuesday represents a landmark acknowledgement from one of the world's most prestigious universities of the breadth of its entanglement with slavery, white supremacy, and racial injustice for centuries after its 1636 founding. All right. I'm just going to jump down here. It says much of Harvard's record on slavery and racial discrimination has been known for years, but the report sought to deepen that knowledge and tie it all together in an unsparing portrait of institutional failings. Among its findings, enslaved people of indigenous and African descent, it says here, right? Now, indigenous is a reference to people that look like the Florida Princes, as well as Chief Osceola, all right? In addition, it's saying here in this archaeological, anthropological, ethnographical text here, dealing with the races of man, the natural history of man, right? It's saying here that here in this American continent, there's various complexions, some including described as very much resembling in color the Negroes of Africa. And so now when we have Harvard University saying those of African descent, they need to be very clear about that, especially when they're playing games with the appearance of the indigenous peoples, okay? It says African descent played an integral role in the Harvard community in its first century and a half, all right? It says the first Harvard schoolmaster, Nathaniel Eaton, enslaved a man known only as the Moor, who served the college's earliest students. Various Harvard presidents, fellows, overseers, stewards, and faculty members enslaved more than 70 people until slavery was outlawed in Massachusetts in 1783. The report did not state a precise count, but the university said the total appears to be 79, dozens more than previously known. The situation is this, right? Indian slavery was big business. And in regards to these Africans, right, I want you to pay attention to something here, right? It says in African descent, highlighted right there. And then here it is, we have the schoolmaster, Harvard's first schoolmaster, Nathaniel Eaton, enslaved a man known only as the Moor, okay? Now, let me just go and jump over to this text over here, okay? Let me check the status of the chat. Kashana Darden, appreciate your presence. How you doing? Appreciate you. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and continue now. Now, this is the text here. I'm going to put this link in the chat again. This is Jews and Muslims in British colonial America, a genealogical history. Let me go and put the link right here. So, in this text, right, let me go to do it big real quick. In this book, it's blatantly saying who the Jews and Muslims were that was shipped to this American continent, specifically North America, okay? Now, looky here. Let me zoom in so you can see this real quick, right? So, right here, chapter 4, where it says Massachusetts, that's where Harvard is, right? It says Pilgrims, Puritans, Jews, and Moors, all right? So, but we have these characters call themselves Moors, and they're talking about how they was kings and queens, and they was doing this crazy stuff over there in Europe, and they're indigenous to the world and Aboriginal to the world and all this nonsense. Well, what I'm showing you this evening and what I've shown in past presentations says the complete opposite, all right? Saying the complete opposite. So we're going to go to page 60 real quick. Where's page 60? 70 right there. Let me zoom out. Make sure we got this clear. Okay, this is 63. Let's go back. 62. No, this is page 61 right here. Then. Let's read about it. let's see what was going on in Massachusetts during this period, because this is the period of 1620, the period of Harvard University and all of that, right? Pilgrims, Puritans, Jews, and Moors. The outline of early Massachusetts history is familiar to most Americans. The first settlers arrived on the Mayflower in 1620 with the Pilgrims. The Puritans followed within a decade, setting up the towns of Salem in 1628 under John Endicott, and Boston in 1630 under John Winthrop. That same year, the Massachusetts Bay Colony was founded. So when you see Massachusetts Bay Colony, I want you to keep in mind the company, okay? This book also deals with the Virginia Company as well, all right? Continuing, it was absorbed the former colony and brought a large amount of self-government, okay? Within the next decade came more than 20,000 immigrants. So 1630 to 1640, more than 20,000 immigrants, almost entirely British, it is said, with East Anglians setting the tone, all right? This is where the Moors came from. This is where they came from. This chapter is dedicated to them, the Jews, and a whole bunch of other people, right? Pilgrims, essentially, right? They was all pilgrims. They was all familiar with each other. And yeah. Now it says here their numbers increased to 100,000 by 1700. Let me share this to you, right? So it is known that throughout this American continent, there was a lot of warfare going on. A lot of warfare. Like, yo, our ancestors wasn't playing with these foreigners because of the things that they was doing to us, all right? Kashana Darden, I see your comment there. You're doing wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much for all that you've doing for our people. Absolutely, I appreciate you. Also, when you have a moment, check out stopthegenocide.us. That deals with rat poison and personal care cosmetic products. Please be on the lookout for this rat poison ingredient and any chemical. Avoid the chemicals in personal care cosmetic products. All right. Let's go to continue over here. Where we at? That the one? No. Here it is. Let's go to go over see what the next page is talking about. I was reading this book early this week, and I was looking for specific information, so I didn't complete my review of the entire book. All right. Let's go ahead. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run a search for more in this text. All right. You see, this is archive.org. They have some great features when it comes to these texts here. All right. So I'm running a search for more. We're currently on page 68. The page number of the book is page 60. On archive.org, it is showing page 68. So I'm just going to look for page 68 over here. Okay, where are we at? So it looks like they introduced the term more in this chapter on page 72. So let's jump over there real quick. Let me zoom out also. Where's the word more? There it is. Okay, so look. It says passengers aboard the Mayflower. They give you names in this genealogical book here. They give you the names of them. All right. Now, the last paragraph before we go to the next page, it says there are several puzzling details in this roster. First, 3 unaccompanied children surnamed Moore. Okay. And the author puts in brackets, or pardon me, in brackets, pretty much, parentheses, are living. Moors are living with 3 different families. Jasper Moore is with the Carvers, a family group that also includes Desiree Mincer and Roger Wilder. Okay, let's go to the next page. Continuing. Ashkenazic named persons. Richard Moore is listed with the Brewster family and their children. Ellen Moore is with the Winslow family. Hey, the Winslows, right? Like Carlton Winslow, right? So they was role playing Moors on that TV show, right? What was that, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air and all of that, right? Continuing, which also includes George Sule's Sephardic name. So here we have it. Moors and Jews are together in their arrival to Massachusetts. They came together on the Mayflower. How could we have not been taught this in our, youth? Everybody went to grade school. Some people did, some people didn't, but a lot of people did. And to this day, we have youth going to school, and are they being properly informed of this? Is Harvard University providing this quality of truth? Oh, pardon me, Kashana. Appreciate you. Yeah, I said that wrong. Fresh Prince. My bad. Yes, that was Family Matters with the Winslows. My bad. Thank you. Family Matters, right? The Winslows. All right, let's continue. Continuing here, it says, an Elias story, likely from Astoria, a heavily Sephardic region of Spain, or a region called Stora in Morocco. Second, the Hopkins family contains children named Gals, that's French, Constanta, that's Latin, Damaris, Tamar, that is Hebrew, okay, and Oceanus, Latin, and is accompanied by an Edward Dottie, the Sephardic diminutive for David, Daudi, okay? This book is very good here. I was happy when I found this book this week because, it provided additional confirmations, additional evidence to what I've already been sharing throughout the years in my presentations, right? Because the situation is we have people that are foreign to our land, right? Telling us that we're all Hebrews and we're all Moors and we're all this and we're all that. They want us to be everything but ourselves. And the question is, why do they not want us to be ourselves? Why don't they want us to be Americans? Why don't they want us to be of our natural American nations? Why is that? So they can continue to exploit us, continue to colonize, continue to engage in genocidal activities against us? Could this be why? We won't see them as our ancestors saw them, as foreigners who are working against us, who do not have they don't have the best intentions for us. And it's proven. Right now, it's being proven. What do you say, Kashana? Let me read your comment. Says, definitely haven't heard anything like this in grade school or anywhere else except for my grandparents. That's right. Listen to your elders. Speak to your elders about what they know. You said definitely true. And yes. I think I need to pull up my other phone. I got to figure out how to do that so that I can effectively read the comments here. Give me one moment while I pull this up on my phone. Yeah, I'm a multitask. Let me read and log in over here too. Give me one moment, y'all. I got a business call coming in. My apologies. Yes, my apologies, y'all. I had to take that call real quick. So let's go to continue, right? So this book is great. It provides names, dates, and locations. That's what genealogy is about. Once again, this is a genealogical book right here. All right, let's go to zoom in again. So once again, anybody that appreciates genealogy, this is a great reference. You know, even for people that descend from these people here. You see, you have people. It says a Tilly family includes Henry Sampson. That's Hebrew. And finally, among the unmarried adult male passengers, we find Moses Fletcher, John Goodman. That's Ashkenazic for Shem Tov. We have a Diggeroy priest. That's a Kohen of Richard Gardiner. That's Jardine. And Thomas English. Jews often took their country of residence as a surname. Thus, we believe a strong prima facie case can be made for the likely presence of many Sephardim and Moors among the Plymouth passengers. Once again, y'all ask a question. How come our American youth have not been informed of all of this? This is not new information for those that are in this field of research. You see what I'm saying? But this information is available. And we have too many lies being told by people that have influence, and institutions, organizations, corporations, etc., that have influence. We have too many individuals that don't deal with genealogy, that's making false claims, making blanket statements directed at confusing our American people and our American nation's descendants. This is a problem. And so when people ask me, what's the solution? Well, awareness is a solution. Having these references, these sources, as I provided in this, these are all solutions. With awareness, now you can be in position to be prepared to respond to these lies with pure truth. And there's an abundance of evidence, all right? So continuing here, it says Massachusetts Bay Company, a later incorporation under the auspices of the Council for New England, obtained a royal grant for all land lying between 40 degrees and 48 degrees northern latitude. By 1628, this venture coalesced into Massachusetts Bay Colony, etc. Like, yo, I'm not going to get in all of that tonight, but this is a serious book here, okay? Let us look for some more about these Moors, all right? Here it is. And so, yeah, that's matter of fact, that's how I came across this. So I was continuing research from some time ago. I can't remember when I really started getting to this part of the research, right? I had a question. Could I identify Moors in association to the Virginia Company? Well, this book is evidence of that. This book provides evidence of that, all right? Let me go ahead and go back a page, though. Let's see what they're, let's see, make sure we got some good references here. So yeah, this book has pictures of these people. Remember, you know, these people are of mixed blood. The foreigners have been mixing with each other forever, long before they arrived to this American continent where they are mixing more. All right, they're still mixing. Okay, some foreigners they do preserve their bloodlines because of their value for purity and things of that nature. Those we can call those people conservatives, if you will. For me, I like to term myself as an American preservationist. I want to preserve our American bloodlines. That's what I would say. All right. So continuing here, where we at with it? So yeah, we have people from Hungary coming through. Look at this. You got Moses, Maurice, Simon. These are all Hebrew names. Hebrew names here. All right. You have a Simon Nooms. That's Yiddish, Nachum, and Jonas Wilson. Yet a third group included Jacob and Henrik or Heinrich, Ekins. That's Elkanah, and Adrian Johns Engel. That turns into Angel and things of this nature. Now look, by 1626, the West India Company had been formed with Isaac de Razares serving as his chief commercial agent in New Netherland. So New Netherland, also known as New Amsterdam, okay, that's the New York region right now. All right, let's go and go to the next page. Go back over here. Let's go up. So yes, continue with these Moors. It says, from the beginning, it functioned as a mercantile military arm of the Netherlands. We're talking about the Dutch right now. Attacking, plundering, and otherwise harassing the hated enemy Spain and her colonies. The Dutch, under Jan de Moor, literally John the Moor, established colonies in Guyana, the Amazon, and Essequibo during the early 1600s and vied for the rich trade in Brazilian sugar. They contemplated conquering Brazil because, in their view, the Portuguese were neither able nor willing to offer effective resistance, especially as many of them were Jews, sworn enemies of the Spanish Inquisition. Yeah. Do you understand how funky this is? LL Lewis, appreciate your presence, Halito. Do you understand how funky this is? I gotta find this quote real quick. I'm gonna leave this on the screen while I locate this text. I presented this previously. I want to show you this again. I believe this text came from Blacks of the Land. Yes, that's where it came from, Blacks of the Land. Okay. Let me see here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's zoom in on this page. So once again, this is Blacks of the Land. The title of the book was translated from Portuguese, where it was titled Negro de Terra. Negro de Terra. Okay. I can't remember the author's name off top right now, but this book is available. All right, continuing here. Yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. First page. Now check it. So this is during the period of the 1630s, going into the 1640s, right? Let me go ahead and move this page over here right next to this. So we're talking about the 1600s here, dealing with John the Moor or Jan the Moor, the Dutch. This is the Dutch we're dealing with, right? Now check it. And they're talking about Brazil. They're talking about the Portuguese and how these Moors and Jews are enemies of the Spain because what the Spanish did with the Inquisition. The Inquisition was slaughtering Moors and Jews. This is proven historical fact right here. Let's continue, right? It says here in Brazil. All right, let me take it from the top, matter of fact. Take it from the top. It says the Bishop of Rio de la Plata also took the side of the Jesuits in making use of some of the distortions characteristics of the larger campaign, wrote to the Pope in 1637, affirming in Brazil there is a city subject to a prelate that is not a bishop, that is called Sao Paulo. And in it there have assembled a large number of men of different nations, Englishmen, Dutchmen, and Jews, who in league with those from the land, like rabid wolves, cause great damage to your warship's new flock. Continuing, the Jesuits also use religious rhetoric in attempting to guarantee their exclusive access to the Indians of the interior, lamenting that the Sotao that they call Patos is open to every Moor, Jew, black and white, tall and short, who wishes to go there to attack and conquer and capture the Indians to later sell them where and to whom they please. Were it not for the Jesuits, they argued, the Indians would be left in the mouth of the devil and in the claws of the whites. Do y'all understand the significance of this? I mean, seriously. This is an ongoing war against, like, literally covert operational warfare against our American nation's descendants. And to this day, we have highly influential, highly prestigious universities, institutions, academies, organizations, corporations, to this very day, profiting from the lies they are telling our people and telling the world. Like, literally, our American people's, our American nation's character has been completely defamed. Our identity is being stolen. In front, like right now, our identity has been stolen. Right now, stolen. The foreigners have it to the point where they have taught our youth, they have programmed our youth to say, fuck America. Then we have other foreigners whether they're in their countries of origin or they've arrived here as immigrants, and they're saying, fuck America. No distinction between the continent and the United States. No distinction between the two is being made when these foreigners are speaking. And when they have our people under foreign influence expressing their grievances, right? Their frustrations and what have you. It's just, fuck America. But meanwhile, we have a duty here. This is ours. Our duty is sacred. That's why I'm presenting this information to you to this evening. You know, we have serious things going on in this continent right now. You know, I'm prioritizing North America because this is where I am. You know, if I was in Brazil, I'll be focused on issues going on in Brazil because there's some real serious issues going on in Brazil right now. Throughout this entire American continent, very serious issues is going on. Murder rates is crazy. Central, South America, the Caribbean, etc. Murder rates are outrageous down there. Cartel wars and all types of madness going on. You see? And so when we have Harvard University talking about Harvard, slavery, and Judaism, right? And here it says here what the story of Judah Moniz tells us about America and the children of Israel. This is propaganda. Let me go to jump into this part, right? For all the Hebrews out there and people that have been influenced by the Hebrews, yo, they've been lying. They haven't been given full disclosure. Okay, let's get into it, right? It says the first Jew at Harvard was a slaveholder. Damn. So what about these Hebrews talking about, yeah, we're going to enslave people again, right? Like, I hear the Hebrews talking that nonsense, right? They're talking that here. They're not from here. If you claim to be a Hebrew, you are an immigrant, you are a foreigner, and you are preaching, you're promoting criminal conduct on our land against our people, right? Continuing, that's the bombshell so far as I can tell. Buried in the appendix of the new report, Harvard and the Legacy of Slavery. Continuing, the report's list of human beings enslaved by prominent Harvard affiliates includes the enslaved persons Cuffy in Sicily, owned by Judah Moniz. Moniz lived from 1683 to 1764 and was an instructor in Hebrew at Harvard College from 1722 to 1760. So now, let's just run this back again real quick, right? So here it is in Massachusetts, right, where Harvard University is. You had Moors and Jews together. They came together, they played together, they did whatever they did together, and it was all against our American people. Okay? It's all here in black and white. It's all here. They were converting into Christianity because of Spain's dominance, agreements they had with Spain. I'm not going to get to that part of the presentation tonight. Nah, that's some other deep information right there. But long story short, you had these Moriscos and Moranos. The Morisco is a Moor that converts to Christianity. A Morano is a Jew that converts to Christianity. See what I'm saying? That's what's been going on here. They play these religious games, just like the Masons. That's why the Masons say things like, oh, it doesn't matter what religion that you have here. It doesn't matter. You got the public situations, then you got their private situations. They believe in something else in them temples. But publicly, they got you on the impression that, oh, we're Hebrews and we believe in this, and we're Moors and we believe in that. Nah, man, it's much deeper and funkier and wicked than that. As we see, go there to attack, enslave, conquer, exploit the Indians, and sell them to who you please. Let's think about Planned Parenthood, because that's a modern day form of slavery and attack. All the abortions and all that, that's attack on our people. We're taking losses. Who are we going to import? Who are we going to immigrate from wherever in the world when, once again, our American people are distinct from all other nations on this planet here? all other nations. We are distinct from all other nations, all other races. American is a race of people, very diverse, but at the same time, we're very distinct from all others. Okay. Where's that article at again? Where was we reading from? I gotta find it again. Here it is. So they're talking about these enslaved persons, a Cuffy and a Sicily. Well, guess what? They came from Europe, didn't they? They didn't come from Africa. They came from Europe. Oh, these are Puritan Great Migration ships. All these ships came from Europe. Let me show you. Where's that website again? Where's it at again? Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. Now look. Let me go in and drop this link in the chat again. And all the sources are provided on this WikiTree website here. All the sources are provided. Okay. Let me go back right here. Let's zoom in. English and Dutch separatist ships. 1623, Pilgrims divide their land. People mentioned in division of land came on the Mayflower 1620, the Fortune 1621, the Anne 1623. Continuing, it says the Mayflower that came, it departed Plymouth, England, and then it arrived Plymouth, Massachusetts 5 months later. Let me zoom in. Let me go to bring all of this over so it'll be real clean and clear on the screen so y'all can see exactly what's going on here. Okay. It's giving you the captain's name, the ship name, the departure date, and the arrival dates. There is no excuse for DOS, descendants of slaves, blah, blah, blah. I'm just assuming that I'm a descendant of a slave. Nah, buddy, you can actually trace and track the manifest and the ship's names, all of that if you really wanted to. But that's the propaganda. Nobody's telling the people to look for the quote unquote Africans coming out of Europe, right? Nobody's telling them to do that. Let me check the status of the chat. How y'all doing though? Y'all good? Y'all got any questions? I'm gonna see it in a moment. Feel free to put your questions in the chat. I will definitely answer. Once again, I'm not trying to keep this presentation too long. I just wanted to provide some clarity in regards to the lies and propaganda that is still active against our American people. And as well, the foreigners, they could benefit from this as well. Anyone interested in genealogy and truth, it is available. All right, let's continue. So as we see, Mayflower, Fortune, the Anne, Little James, all right. Other New England ships, the Sparrow, the Charity, the Swan, the Jonathan, the Catherine, York, Bonaventure, Charity again, Unity, Jacob, Fellowship, Amity, Abigail, White Angel, Talbot. This goes on and on and on. Let me go back to this article though, and let me pull this one close. Yeah, we read it from right here. This is Wall Street Journal article. Let me go drop this link in the chat too. Because once again, Hebrews have no place in this American continent. All right, Kashana, yeah, definitely appreciate you as well. Where we at? Okay, so yeah, it says reports list of human beings enslaved by prominent Harvard affiliates, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, these were Moors and Jews working together, okay? I first encountered Monist's name more than a decade ago while working on a biography of the American revolutionary leader Samuel Adams. Part of the required curriculum for Harvard students from 1735 to 1755 was a study of Hebrew grammar from a textbook written by Monist. So that means this Jew was teaching Hebrew at Harvard University during the colonial college period. In previous presentations, I showed you how basically what was going on during this period. They were not only were they enslaving Indians, right? I only want to use the term enslavement because what was going on was they was kidnapping Indians, right? They was kidnapping Indians and then selling them as slaves, okay? They would call them Africans because during this period, it was illegal to sell Indians as slaves, okay? This is all historical fact here. Continuing, what this also goes into is the fact these colonists were making agreements with different American Indian nations, right? Whereas they wanted our youth to go to these colonial colleges. As a result, the youth will be converted into Christians. Once an Indian becomes a Christian, they become a Negro. Once again, Negro synonymous with slave. You work for them. You no longer work for your people. You see what I'm saying? This is what has been going on. We see it today. Our youth go to college, what have you. What do they learn? How to work for foreigners, right? They don't learn how to work for their nations. They're not even taught about their nations, right? They're taught how to work for foreign nations, a foreign corporation, right? I mean, come on, what? Elon Musk, he just bought Twitter, right? So Twitter is a corporation here in North America, right? We have some American nations descendants that have gone to college. They have careers in the tech field. They studied various forms of technology, and if they get hired to work, be employed at Twitter corporation, right? Guess what? Elon Musk being the owner, guess what? They work for a literal African American, don't they? True or false? Mama Chief, how you doing? Appreciate your presence. Yeah, matter of fact, let me do this too. Let me go to drop the link in the chat too, just in case anybody would like to share their thoughts as we proceed with this presentation here. Like I said, I'm not going to read everything. I have like a good 20 tabs up right now, but I'm not going to do all 20. I'm just showing you key elements. The links have already been put in the chat. If you run the video back, once we conclude, you can pull up each and every link, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. You can pull up the links. These are all sources, all references, all functional, no cut, no chaser, no bullshit. You know what I'm saying? This is all real information right here. Let's go to continue, right? So where I left off at is the fact these Jews and Moors were teaching Hebrew at Harvard University. So why are you teaching Hebrew at Harvard University where you want Indian youth to go to, right? I need to find a quote for y'all as well. I was reading it briefly a moment ago. But basically what's taking place here, they wanted to strip our people of our language, of our languages. They didn't want us to be Indians no more. Just like as we see to this day, they don't want us to be Indians. They want us to be Black and African American and all of this madness. They want us to be foreign to our own land, right? And they are heavily invested in all of this. And this is where it began. Harvard University, will they admit that fact, that truth? Will they admit to that? Let's continue here. Right? Hold on, what are we saying here? Okay, yeah. So it says, that's a bit too convenient though. If it had turned out that Monis were secretly operating an underground railroad, voluntarily setting his slaves free, or advocating abolition, I'd be happy to claim him for the Jews. While traditional Judaism, like other religions, frowns on those who adopt alternative faiths. It also still considers as a Jew anyone like Monis who was born to a Jewish mother. Continuing. The question that goes beyond mere sectarian interest is what the news about Monis means for the story that historians have been telling about the influence of Christian Hebraism in the American Revolution. Samuel Adams described the British as taskmasters and likened the American revolutionaries to the children of Israel fleeing slavery in Egypt. Wow. Wow. Isn't that some great language? In a speech to the Continental Congress in 1777, Samuel Adams noted that they had told the world of their determination to die freemen rather than to live slaves. Do you see what's going on here? Once again, the foreigners that were shipped here They were subjects of Britain. Okay, they were subjects. They weren't free people. They were given privileges. They were very privileged people, yeah, but they were serving the interests of their masters. Okay. See, look, Samuel Adams described the British as taskmasters and likened the American revolutionaries. Remember, these are all colonists. He likened the quote unquote American revolutionaries, the colonists, to the children of Israel fleeing slavery in Egypt. Yo. So for the Hebrews and the Moors and whoever else that want to call this American continent Egypt, and they want to call the Mississippi River the Nile River and all that, that's straight bullshit. And this is where the confusion comes from back in the 1700s, the 1800s. This is where the confusion comes from. Because they were likening, they were fabricating, they were imagining. These foreigners were doing all of that. And now we have people believing in and investing in the foreigners' imagination and shit like that, right? That's kind of crazy, ain't it? It says here, the Declaration of Independence spoke of how all men are created equal, endowed by their creator with the right to liberty. Continuing, it's one thing to reckon with hypocrisies in the stories of plantation owning Virginians like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. That's old news, but Samuel Adams, Harvard Hebrew professor, that hits closer to home for those who consider Boston to be the cradle of liberty. All right. Doubtless some will see it as additional evidence that the whole enterprise, 18th century Harvard, the American Revolution, the Bible was rotten to the core. But there is an alternative reading. If the future American revolutionaries, colonists, were diligent students of the Hebrew monist taught, they would have been able to parse with some care the text of Exodus at Sinai after God identifies himself as having brought you out of Egypt, the house of slavery. He issues the commandment that the children of Israel obey the Sabbath in part by not having their own slaves work on the seventh day and all of that, right? Long story short, this is all detailing how these motherfuckers got a history of being full of shit. And to this day, they're not telling the truth. That's the purpose of this presentation this evening, to provide perspective and clarity on the real truth dealing with these influential institutions and organizations and corporations, etc. They're playing mind games. This is propaganda against our American people. We're the ones that take losses if we don't have the correct information to work with. We take losses. I just want y'all to consider this reality here. Imagine our daughters and sons 100 years ago, right? 200 years ago, right? Our American nation's descendants, if they had been told that, yo, you're from this land, your people are distinct from all others, have pride, here's your language, here's your culture, here's your custom, versus, oh, you don't have a culture, you don't have customs, because everything that you do and that you do naturally, everything that you did naturally, well, we have claimed it as being ours commercially, right? Then they have these real life descendants of Hebrews and Moors as educators, right? And they're teaching our youth, generation after generation, that they are descendants of slaves, when that's the furthest thing from the truth, and they themselves are the real descendants of slaves. I mean, yo, what's up? People ask me, what's the solution? Once again, the solution is dealing with the truth. The solution is confronting all these lies. That's the solution. Confronting these lies and without compromise. We're dealing with compromised entities and influential corporations and what have you. They have our resources in which they are using against us, right? The solution is to know this to be true, that, hey, you're using my people's resources from my land, from my people against my people in my land. Our youth needs to know this. That's the solution in regards to, as we proceed into the future, the youth deserve a better experience. Bottom line. all this information, the rat poison situation, you know, all this history here, right? I do this so that it can be on the record. There needs to be a record. This here's a digital record, all right? As well as book records, as well as what's especially important, speaking to your elders and documenting what your elders tell you. It's important that the youth have a relationship with the elders. Every generation needs to preserve its bonds. These bonds are natural. Certainly, some bonds have been broken due to various corrupt incidents. I can't speak for everyone, but we do have some serious close quarter issues. But that should not take away from the priority, which is our existence, because our entire existence is on the line. Yo, I'm about to get up out of here. I just want to share this information to y'all, right? And this is what they look like during those times. This is what the Moors and the Jews look like, the Moranos and Moriscos. These type of clothes they was wearing. You know, they was going to court back in the day. You know, you had the pale skin Moors as well, of course. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the Moors come in various complexions. But these are the primary Moors they sent out amongst us. We didn't trust the pale skins, just like how people have trust with them to this day, right? However, every pale skin is not the same. But when it comes to these Moranos and Moriscos, like we see on the screen right here, these, you know, they're preaching. They was preaching then and they're preaching now, ain't they? And they preaching garbage. They're preaching lies to our American nation's descendants. Continuing. This is what they look like. This was the servitude. They was well dressed. Harvard needs to tell the truth about these Moranos and Moriscos, those slaves. They need to tell the truth about the Indian youth that were being treated as slaves, being taught to serve colonists, right? As we see, once again, our youth go to these colleges, and then who do they end up serving? Foreign nations that own corporations, not their bloodline descent nations, the nations from which they descend from. They don't serve those corporations. No, they serve the foreign nations corporations, right? From then to now, that's what we're seeing here. Here it is, once again, the Moors. Yo, they've been mixing with the foreigners. That's why we see it today, right now. What is it? We got this this Biden appointed judge. Well, I haven't done her genealogy, but it's safe to say she's a descendant of Moors and was it Moriscos / Moors and Moranos, Jews, real life Hebrews and Moors. Like the descendants are still here. Here we have an image that represents how the female Moors. That's what he was doing. They was breastfeeding the pale skins. I heard someone come in the chat. Chief Noya, how you doing?
Greetings. Halito, everyone. How you doing?
I'm well. Yeah, just about concluding all of that.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump on before you conclude, Tom, because this is a very good information based on the fact that, like you're showing, how when these people started showing us, or who we thought was us, they were showing us them. And they was putting us in the place of them, making us think, oh, this is y'all because this is how y'all look. But all of those people that you're showing are, in fact, like you're showing, are the ones that came, not the ones that was here.
Mm-hmm.
And even the languages that a lot of these people call themselves, got their own tongue, got their own languages and all this, and talking about they are this and that. These are some more of those planters. And they are all around us. And they love daddy. They love their daddy. And I just wanted to chime in on that because I've dealt with some people today with this language, with them calling themselves with these tongues. And for you to bring this up, it just hit home. I relinquish.
Yeah, you good. Well, I appreciate what you said there. Yeah, The confusion is real. Brandon Rogers, how you doing? See, appreciate your presence. So yeah, we have this Charles Clark. He says new electric door genealogy, but I heard her mama say that they have relatives in West Africa. I'm not familiar with new electric door genealogy. Um, and yeah, that's interesting that they may have relatives in West Africa. I mean, pardon, there's a noise in the background. I got my window open. Yeah, so if she says that her mother has relatives in West Africa, that means that that's where she's from. She's descended of those people. That's bottom line, without question. You know what I'm saying? But you know, our focus here this evening, Charles Clark, is the fact that Harvard University and many other prestigious and influential institutions, corporations, etc., they are still lying to the public. You know, these foreigners are on our American land, in our American continent, amongst our American people, and they're talking about African slaves. They're not telling the truth that those quote unquote African slaves were Moors and Moranos that were exiled from Europe. There was also pirates and various breeds of criminals that were once again exiled to this American continent. The 13 colonies were penal colonies. I've shared that in past presentations, but yeah, whoever that genealogist is, yeah, I'll be careful with them because for me, in the genealogy research that I provide, I'm able to connect people either to this land or I'm able to connect them to Europe. That's what I'm able to do. All right. So you know, it's a real detailed subject matter here. Um, and once again, this is what they was doing, and this is what they're still doing. All right.
And Tony, can I step in right there?
Yeah.
West Africa. West Africa. Yeah. Okay. Simultaneously, y'all. Remember, 1492. The Moors claimed that they was ruling from 711 to 1492. Then they was kicked off, okay, into West Africa. So they are, in fact, those people that was brought from West Africa, if anybody, not those of us who was already here. So that West Africa stuff, simultaneously, how were you kicked out of someplace in 1492 and then all of a sudden 1492, y'all over here invading us?
Yeah, and see that's a good point you brought up there, right? In regards to the Moors getting kicked out, well, that was an entirely long period of warfare. The Moors had been at war with Spain and with the European nations for a very long time before they was made vassals. Like there was literal massacres going on, entire slaughters. Europeans were slaughtering those Africans that had invaded the European region of that mass continent, that supercontinent, Euro, Africa, Asia. That's a supercontinent. All right. Anyway, if you look up Aurelian Moor, let me go and put that in the chat. Okay. If y'all look up Aurelian Moor, putting this in here, this is a direct reference. This is direct reference to the Roman Moors. Okay. This is what they was known as, the Aurelian Moors. That's a reference to Marcus Aurelius. All right. We're talking about 2nd century when the Romans invaded Europe. Okay. They had a diverse population in their army. Okay. You had Africans, you had Arabs, sure they had Asians, they had a variety of people with them as soldiers. All right. Those Aurelian Moors and whoever else, they stayed behind. They stayed behind. They remained in Europe. There's a book. It's called History of the Moorish Empire in Europe. Back to what Mama Chief was saying a moment ago, right? It wasn't 1492. No, this is long before 1492. We're talking about going into the 1400s. Warfare between the European nations and the Moors. And once again, Spain and the Vatican, the Moors in which they allowed to live, they made them vassals. A vassal is another term for a super slave. For example, right, vassal is synonymous with the word thrall and bond servant, things of this nature. Okay, a thrall. Think about vampires. How a vampire will turn someone who they're drinking their blood, but they'll turn them into a weaker vampire so that they will serve them. That's what a thrall is. All right. So this is very detailed history, a lot of words and a lot of definitions with very real world meanings and implications. And that's what's been going on here when we see these black characters on throughout foreign media, right? And they're promoting everything African American and black, and they're claiming this is racist and that is. Well, hold on, what's more racist than being in a country not of your origin, right? As a Hebrew, as a Moor, whatever, right? And you are actively oppressing, you are actively deceiving, you are actively fabricating and creating propaganda against each and every generation while you're invested in the colonization and genocide of those people, while you're defaming their character at the same time, right? What's more racist than that? I mean, seriously, what is more racist than what I just described there? Remember, racism is a system of oppression, okay? We're looking at the 1600s Harvard University. Harvard University is not showing the information that I've been showing for some years now. They're not teaching this. Imagine paying upwards of $100,000 in tuition for your daughters and sons to get the best education, right? And they're getting chopped and screwed history, African American studies, and all this nonsense. And the African American studies direct everybody to Africa, but doesn't tell the truth about the Moors and the Moranos that were in Europe invading this American continent, going to war with our American nations within each generation of their presence, right? It's real wicked subject matter here, you know. Hey, Mama Chief, you got any more comments or share anything else?
No, that was good. It's just that we just need to be careful about the people that we need to give a hoot about the people we deal with. We don't need to care about nothing, but yeah, we need to give a hoot about the people we deal with for real, because we're being taken out. We're really being taken out.
Oh yeah, this is not a game at all. And Kashana, Darden, definitely need to get my genealogy done. Well, we have h2fba.com. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Feel free to contact us, and we do private genealogy sessions.
And by all means, you guys, if y'all got elders in your lineage, talk to your elders. Talk to your people. I'm the oldest in my lineage right now. And I'm 65. So, that's sad. So I admonish you to talk to your people.
Yeah, it's vital. Kashana, that's the first thing I would recommend you do is I'm not sure if you've done it already, but speak to your elders. You want names, dates, and locations. No stone should be left unturned when it comes to your people. All right. Ask them questions freely. All right. Take notes. What I recommend is you get a voice recording app and you record your conversations with your people. All right. You take notes. And then from there you can begin doing research, names, dates, and locations. Take notes of aliases or names that sound like my people couldn't be named something like Minty, because that's what Harriet Tubman, aka, because her real name was not Harriet Tubman. That was not her name. Her name was Aura Ross. Okay. Her mother called her Minty. That was her alias, Minty. Instead of saying Aramenta, right? She just simply called her Minty. And she was a Moor. See what I'm saying? So, it's a lot of information out here. I might have to do another presentation going into these foreign operatives, because this is, once again, dealing with those foreign operatives, these hidden colors that are around us playing games with us. Yeah, what you say,
Mhm.
Ma?
I say absolutely. That's right. They are all of those, all our heroes, you guys. All the heroes they gave us, they were their heroes, not ours.
Yeah, I want y'all to pay attention to something, right? So, here it is. We have, let me find that picture again. Chief Osceola. He was a hero. This is a real life American hero right here for our people. His words, am I a Negro, a slave? His words alone define what a Negro is. A Negro is a slave by default. That's what the Moors and Hebrews are, right?
Right,
He says
right.
blatantly, I am an Indian. What you say, Emma?
I just say right. I'm sorry. Let me
Or
mute.
no, you good. He says, continuing, I am an Indian. The white man shall not make me black. What do we see going on right now? We got it's not the quote unquote white man by himself or herself. Yo, you got every breed of foreigner viewing and treating our people as Negroes, as slaves and black, speaking very abusively towards our people. On media, like on our land, these people are speaking filthy towards our American nation's descendants. Continuing, he says, I will make the white man red with blood, and then blacken him in the sun and rain, where the wolf shall smell his bones and the vulture live upon his flesh. That's Harper's Weekly, June 12th, 1858. Shouts to History Reel for sharing that quote. But Chief Osceola, there's a story about Chief Osceola I shared before, right? History Reel sourced this story here also. It's a story about how Chief Osceola went on a rescue mission. He was away at war. Chief Osceola was a war chief. He was away at war. This was during a period of Seminole War, right? Against the colonists and all of that, which included, once again, the Moranos and Moriscos, the Moors and the Hebrews. Our ancestors at war with them, okay? Don't get it confused. Continuing. While he was away at war, his wife, right, who was the daughter of a Seminole sub chief, right? His wife was kidnapped from her village. The village burned, destroyed, all the women and children taken and sold as slaves. Chief Osceola, like many other of our American ancestors, went on rescue missions. These weren't slave rebellions, these were rescue missions. Why would a Moor slash Morano or Morisco want to rebel against their own people on this land, on this soil, when they are having the time of their life here? They're living their best life here. Yo, you get into this book over here. Let me drop the link to this book again, right? Once again, this is Jews and Moors, no, Jews and Muslims in British colonial America. All right.
You know what, Tony? You just made me remember something that an elder asked me one time
Mm-hmm.
about them happy niggas that was dancing back in the 60s, in the 50s and 60s up in in these New York and all these happy niggas. Them jolly niggas. They was happy and they was dancing, they was singing, they was stars. Those free
The Walter Listers.
yeah, that was those people,
Yeah.
and I know you want to end this, but I'm gonna start. I want to go back in because I'm looking at these cards, and when I say slave, farmer slaves, when they say farmer slaves, we can say, yeah, these are those that they put on our face to say they was our black heroes, the Ida B. Wells, the Mary Church Terrell, the Hattie McDaniels, all of these people. These are not us. These are their slaves. We are not their slaves. We are the real American people.
That's right.
Sad.
That's absolutely right. You know, and you see here, right? So this is another old image here. I can't remember the date. Oh, matter of fact, this date says 1861 at the very bottom. It says white and black slaves from New Orleans. Okay. What you see here, as far as quote unquote white and black, I need y'all to keep in mind, in the most simplest terms, the mixing that was taking place between the Moriscos slash the Moors, the Moranos slash the Hebrews over there in Europe, how they were exiled to serve in this American continent's colonies. When I say colony, I need y'all to keep something in mind with colony. Think about company, employees, servants, and things of this nature. Employee is synonymous with servant. All right? That's a real legal definition there. Shouts to
Government.
he shared there too, huh?
Government.
Yeah, government. All of that. Because don't let these foreigners deceive you or confuse you into believing that this American continent was without government and structure. We had every one of our American nations had systems of governing. We had laws, even though we wasn't writing everything down. We could have books and libraries full of laws and codes and all of that type of stuff because that's unnatural to our ancestors.
You
See what I'm
mean
saying?
full of stolen legacies and lies?
Yeah, all of that. We didn't have none of that. Everything we had here was natural. And our punishments were also naturally harsh. So once again, when people ask for solutions, the truth is a solution in regards to dealing with all these lies, because it's the lies that is causing us harm. Let me give you an example real quick because I'm concluding. And once again, this rat poison subject is very active for me and my engagements, right? So check it. You come down here, right? This is African pride. It
And
says
for
for
me.
natural hair. What do you say, Mom?
I say, and for me, y'all, I'm invested in this.
Yeah, it says for natural hair. How's it for natural hair? This is an example of a lie, by the way. This is a
Yeah.
whole example of a lie. How's it for natural hair when it has chemicals such as a literal chemical rat poison ingredient, which is completely unnatural? How can they say to you that this is for your natural hair? This is for your natural being, right? But it contains unnatural, horrible chemicals, which will cause your body extreme harm and damage. All right? How do we address these lies? We address it with truth. That's what the Stop the Genocide situation is about. Presenting truth to the people, giving them the background and defining each and every single last one of these ingredients. This ingredients list is a total of 30, it's like 36 or 37 ingredients. And I counted percentage of it, 62.5% of the ingredients off this list, they're toxic. They're harmful, cancer causing, allergens, irritation, right? So how do we, as a solution, right, confront and deal with everything that's going on around us that's causing us harm? Well, we deal with truth without compromise. So yeah, Iman, is there anything else you'd like to add to this before we get up out of here?
Yeah, I just want to say, you guys, look in your closet. Please stop using this poison. I'm still living. As long as I'm living, I'm going to warn you and I'm going to tell you it got to my system and it's getting to yours if you're still using it. Be wise. Heal yourself. Deliver yourself from the untoward generation that we are in right now by being wise.
Absolutely. Yo, much appreciation everyone in the chat, everyone that participated this evening. Once again, in the beginning of this presentation this evening, I presented all of the links. I didn't go through all of them, but the primary links dealing with this Harvard University issue, dealing with the genealogy book, dealing with the Jews and the Muslims in British colonial America. That is tremendous piece of evidence, if you will, in regards to what was going on then, leading into the descendants that are active against our people now that have been mixing. They once again, they continue to mix with each other. Their ancestors did it, and they're doing it to this day in front of us, and they want us to mix with them, and we have to preserve our bloodlines. This is about usurpation. in addition to the annihilation, extermination, extinction of our American people while they're invested actively into colonizing our land. All right. As always, much appreciation to our American people. Y'all stay strong. Y'all stay healthy. Self-preservation. Y'all be good.